So I had a quick story that I wanted to talk about today because I'm about to head somewhere, but I stepped outside because I was looking at my okra plant and I only had one okra produce. Like, I was able to see the flower that only produces one day, and I produced one vegetable fruit. Is okra a vegetable or a fruit? I don't know. And so I was really adamant about figuring out how to get the rest of them to grow. And my grandma didn't make it no easier. She was like, yeah, okra is really easy to grow. And I'm like, yeah, I'm growing the leaves, but first of all, the leaves aren't getting bigger. And oh my God, there's another okra coming in. I was about to say there's no okra other than that one. And the whole story was about how, you don't know which one is going to produce fruit, but you have to water all of them. And so every day when I come out here, I water all of my plants, even though I see the one that is producing fruit. The other ones are not dead. They may not be growing, but they're not dead. And so there's still a need to continue to water these plants, even though I can clearly see the one that is like potentially yielding more fruit, because it's the only one yielding fruit. So I thought about it like ideas. When you get new ideas, when you're in this space of creativity, you're never really just creating one thing. You're creating multiple things, and how that's okay, because you don't know which one will produce the fruit that you desire. But you still have the responsibility to take care of all of your ideas, to see them all as valuable, to see them all as an extension of yourself, and just your creative nature, your creative ability. When you create something, having to release it without being attached to the outcome or what happens with it, or if other people like it. And so I'm looking in my garden and I'm like, that one okra that grew, instead of just eat it and make a one plate okra, that doesn't make sense. I decided to let it dry out so that I could take the seeds to plant new okra next year. And how important that was to realize that it only takes one. It only takes one to keep something going, to keep a system going, to keep something alive. It only takes one thing, that creative idea, the business, the idea. It only takes one that puts you in a position to be able to do more. And so I think about, like when we have these ideas, you may be set on this one thing taking off and kind of sustaining you or helping you, or creating in that space. And then you neglect everything else that you started, but there's a need to take care of all of them. And then with that one thing, instead of just kind of consuming it, allowing it to produce more fruit by collecting the seeds. And so it's kind of like this, I'm looking at it as, this okra's generation. It's kind of like a generational thing. And, sometimes you are the one, and then sometimes your family is the one. And sometimes, it could extend beyond that. But part of our purpose is to create, to recreate, to grow, to expand. And sometimes that's what it looks like. You put all this energy into a lot of things, and you don't know which one will produce the fruit. But having the faith that you'll be able to build something off of whatever fruit does come. And me planting all these other okras, and even if they don't yield any fruit, there's something I learned from them. And so it was necessary for me to plant those as well. So I don't know if my analogy made sense, but I just thought it was crazy and kind of amazing. And it's kind of a simple mindset thing, because it's like, well, duh, we plant something, things grow. But the fact that I've only seen one okra yield, then I'm like, well, that's all I need. Like, it doesn't have to be everything. Sometimes your abundance is producing something that will sustain you in the future, that will continue to grow a new yield to sustain you in the future, and it only takes one. And so getting fixated on this idea of what productivity, what success, what abundance has to look like is what keeps us from realizing the abundance that we already have. And so, yeah, I'm excited because I've got, I don't know how many seeds are on the inside of an okra, because, this is my first year doing them. And really just diving into this gardening thing, this creation thing. And yeah, it's really exciting when you look at it from that standpoint, because that means you're already abundant. You already have so many things that you can do something with. There are pieces of you that are waiting to be cultivated, seeds that you have planted that are producing more seeds. And so you just have to keep going. You have to keep moving, keep seeing what you have done as fruitful. Even if it's just one, even if it's none, you have to know that you're building something, you're creating something, you're pouring into something. So yeah, that's all I had. So this is my one little piece of okra that I'm letting dry out. And so I realized I probably needed more fertilizer to make the rest of these grow. But I think we have another one trying to come in right there. And so hopefully, but this is our learning season. Oh my goodness. Maybe a lot of them are starting to come in, but it's still kind of short, small for an okra plant, but whatever. So I think the question becomes, what have you created? What have you sown into that is producing a yield that will sustain you for the future? And how can you be more appreciative of the abundance that is already here with you, without getting in a state of shoulda, coulda, woulda, or this is how, I think about the okra. I should have done this. I could have taken care of it like this. This would have made all of them grow, and then I would have had enough to cook with or do something with. And it's like, that's not what that harvest was about. That harvest was about creating the first step of your sustenance for a new season. And so appreciating it for what it brought you, and then preparing for what's to come.